So today I'm going to try out Adobe Firefly, specifically text effects, which is what I use to make this thumbnail, and I will share my thoughts. So this is the first video in a series where I try out and review new design technology, and it's mostly going to be tools related to fonts and AI for now, since in the past few years there's been a number of interesting research papers and tools coming out. Actually, I originally wanted to compare Firefly with how you can make similar text effects um, with stable diffusion image to image, but the video was getting too long, so maybe I'll make a separate video. But first, a quick intro. So, what is Adobe Firefly? It is the new family of AI models focusing initially on image and text effect generation from Adobe. And it came out around March 21, 2023. For me, I requested access on March 23rd, and then I got the email to get access on March 31st. And since it's in beta right now, I'm sure there will be many updates coming soon. So now let's get into how I made the 3D inflated effect in the thumbnail. I'll type the word text, and the prompt I used was black 3D pillow inflated. And I'll let that generate. I was inspired by this project by Marta Serda, and I used the font Poplar. For the prompt, you can also try different words like balloon, fabric balloon, shiny, and plastic. And as you can see, it's not that dark, like in the thumbnail. That's because the text color right now is set to transparent. So what I did was I changed it to black, and now that looks better. If I'm not happy with this, I can try one of the other four variations. If I want more text in the same style, I can also type it. And once I feel satisfied I like it, I can either submit it to the gallery, copy it to clipboard, or download it. Um, so once you download it, it's applying content credentials, and let's see what it looks like. So it automatically adds this watermark here. Okay, now let's do a second demo and I'll show you some more things that you can and can't do in Firefly. So Adobe says that the prompts are English only for now. So if I type another language, um, let's do like tree, or yeah, let's do tree. Um, yeah, you get an unsupported language. I'll change it back to English. But I also found that even if you type a word they don't recognize, like I'm Canadian, so I wrote like Timbit, right? You also still get this unsupported language. But something that I found is that you can input any language as long as the font supports it. So I'll use my Chinese name, Li Jia. And what I really wanted to do is write my name in blood. So I tried that, but I got the message that it violates the user guidelines. So let's do Ketchup instead. And I'm gonna change the font to Times New Roman. I think it will look more serify. I also wanted to talk about the text fit. I really like this feature. So right now it's in medium, but if I choose tight, it kind of like fits the original letter forms like more closely. And then if I pick loose, it's more the other way around. Goes outside of the edges more, if that makes sense. In some of the variations, you can even see that it like goes, like has splatters outside of the lines. Yeah, so like things like that. So the last thing I'm going to try are the sample effects. Adobe provides these sample prompts to start you off and give you some ideas in the categories nature, material, and food. Honestly, I think these are kind of hit or miss for me, but I'll show you what some of them look like anyways. The ones that I think are not bad are like plastic wrap. Like that looks pretty cool. I'll put English next to it too so you can see. I'll do a shorter one. So you can see what both languages look like. So I've just changed it to a thicker font. I also like the sushi one. I feel like this one is pretty good. I like the way that the sushi fills up the text. But I think the some of the other ones that are kind of questionable, maybe let's try the toast. I feel like Firefly has the tendency to create like a bunch of unnecessary holes and patterns when sometimes you just want a simple texture. Like I would expect a toast to look like if I cut a piece of bread in the shape of the letter A and like, yeah, like what is this? I don't know. But it's a good try. Also, sometimes if you select something like a real world object like orange, it ends up looking like not very realistic. Like there's green inside of these oranges, and these shapes are a bit strange. So here's some final thoughts on Firefly, starting with what I like. First, unlimited use. So you can generate as many times as you like. There's no credit system like other models where you might run out and have to pay more. I don't know if in the future they will set up pricing like they do with Adobe Stock, but they did say in their news release that it will eventually be integrated into Creative Cloud. So I guess if you already have Creative Cloud, maybe you'll have access. And second, I can see it being really good for pitching concepts. Like if you want to mock up some ideas quickly and get feedback, this will be useful. I also think that the image quality is pretty good compared to other models. It says the max resolution is 2000 by 2000 pixels, which in my opinion is good enough for normal size posters, maybe some web projects. But of course it doesn't beat the customizability of like 3D tutorials if you're looking for production ready assets. And some other details that I haven't seen before that I like are the tight, medium, loose text effect fit, and the background color is nice to test what your text looks like on light and dark mode. And the text color is really helpful to tweak it to the color you want. And I was also surprised to see how well it works with non-English inputs. However, there are still many limitations as it is in beta. First, there's limited font selection, so you can't pick your own fonts, there's just these ones, or you can't change the weights like make it bold or regular. Also, we saw it is limited by user guidelines and also doesn't support non-English prompts yet. Now some critiques that I have about the output. So the first one is visual quality. Like I mentioned with the sample effects and the holes, like I'm sorry, but what is this? I also wanted to talk about the variations that it produces. So when you type a word, it reuses the same image for the same letters. As you can see in this word here, like the I is the same. Okay, it's not that noticeable, but if I do something like this, you see what I mean? I think it would look more realistic if each eye was like slightly different, but I understand that this probably makes the generation faster, and if you really want different letters, you can just, I don't know, download the other variations and put them together yourself. Another thing about the variations is that they're all really similar to each other, and I was expecting something more like OpenAI's DALL-E, where each generation is like slightly different concept. Like if I go to my image history, I gave it the same prompt of like transparent glass, album cover, pastel, and the four that generates is like pretty different. But I think I opened up the same yeah, I put the same prompt into Firefly and they're all kind of like the same vibe. And also, I wanted to mention that like the preview image of the um isn't always the same as what you actually get because like here there's like a circle, but we don't see that in the preview image. Finally, I want to talk about the watermark. Personally, I think it's kind of big and I'm not really a huge fan of it. I feel like the dolly squares or the runway circles is like more subtle and they all have that rainbow vibe going, but um, yeah, hopefully it looks different when it comes out of beta. And yeah, that's it for the video. Let me know your thoughts or if there's anything I missed.